All right, welcome to the power generator. Now, if you're like me, you may have just skipped to this video and you probably missed what I said in the Elite Throwing Mechanics video, which is make sure that you already understand and can create an effortlessly powerful throwing motion. Go through that Elite Throwing Mechanics video and really understand and be able to create a fluid, effortless throwing motion. Because everything you're going to learn in this video won't work unless you have that throwing motion down. So that's the disclaimer. Now in this video, you're going to learn some techniques and tactics that not many people are talking about for how to develop even more power on your serve. And what I've done is I've put these techniques in order so that each thing that we're going to talk about, I can't talk for some reason today, each thing we're going to talk about builds on the one before it. Okay, so it's like make sure you learn the first thing, then you can learn the second thing, and then the third thing, and etc. And it'll be like multiplying your power on your serve. All right, so let's head on over to the court and talk about the power generator. See you soon. You may or may not have heard of this fancy word, the kinetic chain, when people are talking about your serve. Basically, it means the power on your serve starts from the ground up. So you push off the ground with your legs, your hips and trunk rotate, your shoulder and arm extend upward towards the ball. All of that power goes out of your arm through your wrist to the tip of the racket, and the ball spontaneously combusts. So what we're going to do is we're going to work from the last link in the chain to the first, because that'll give you the most instant results. And as you work down the chain, you'll consistently continue to develop more and more power. The thing is if one of these links is broken, there's a power leak, and all of the power that you created, or at least some of the power that you created in the previous links, basically gets neutralized. So it makes sense to start from the last link and work backward. So first and foremost, again, these work wonders assuming your arm is loose and your throwing motion is correct. So, I've been harping on you the whole course about really getting your throwing mechanics down, and I want to keep encouraging you to go back to that video and keep working on that, because that's really at the crux of being able to hit a powerful serve first. So the first idea that we want is our wrist should be rounded when we get into the trophy position. And what I mean is the palm is kind of down or at least neutral. The simple reason being is you go to hit the ball, you're going to be able to snap your wrist. Your wrist is going to have room to bend backward and then spring forward. The alternative is having your wrist laid back like this in the waiter's serve position. And this serve turns into more of a push. So you want to stay rounded here. And you'll see that as you go into your throwing motion, your wrist will naturally lay back and then snap into the ball, which will give you a lot more power. So here's a simple exercise you can do that'll help you get the feel for this. Take the ball and practice snapping it down into the court with mostly just your wrist. What you don't want to do is swing at the ball or push the ball. Rather, you want to focus on this wave-like motion coming from your elbow to your forearm to your wrist. This looks like some kind of Beach Boys video. So work on staying loose and letting your wrist and forearm do the work. I've seen people get the ball 30 feet in the air with this drill. Basically, the higher the ball goes with the right motion, the right technique, the more power you're going to have on your serve. So practice this and you'll quickly start to see great results on the speed of your serve. But now let's get into the next concept, and this one's a game changer. It's pretty simple. All we're going to do is keep our tossing arm going up straight up into the air as long as possible. We're going to do this for three reasons. Number one, it keeps our vertical axis and holds our balance. Basically, we stay balanced better. Number two, it creates a stretch, which creates potential energy that can be released into the ball. And three, it allows us to forcefully tuck it in as we go into our rotation and go to hit the ball. Plus, it looks pretty cool. I mean, come on. Seriously though, focusing on this will instantly give you some boost on your serve. So leave that tossing arm up, keep your orientation going upward, and it'll naturally tuck in as you go to hit, producing some added pop on your serve. All right, when you master this next one, you're going to begin to really look and feel like a pro hitting a serve, as well as create more effortless power. So here we're focusing on our hips and our lower body. If you've ever watched Roger Federer or Pete Sampras from the side, you'll notice their hips are very continuous throughout the serve motion. And we talked about this in the first video, but here we're going to focus on smoothing out our hip rotation as we go into the toss, and then as we reach our maximum stretch, coming right around the corner and start to open up as we hit our serve. What you're looking for is continuous hip rotation during the loading or the coiling phase, and then going right into the unloading or the launch phase, the hitting phase. So a great way to practice this one is with the exercise we did earlier, the Mr. Miyagi drill, where you let your arms dangle by your side and practice rotating your hips left and right. And what this is going to do, it's going to make your serve a lot smoother. So make your hips continuous, and your opponents will continue to wonder how in the world you're getting so much power on that serve. All right, finally, and this is a big one in terms of creating power, we're going to tighten the coil. So we know our body is kind of like a giant rubber band, right? Well, if we want the rubber band to be more explosive, if we want it to go further, all we have to do is tighten it or pull it back further. And we can do this two ways. The first way is to imagine that you're having kind of a tug of war with the racket before you even begin your toss. So you notice in this video, it's a very subtle motion, but how I start to pull away from the racket with my hips. When you try this, you'll notice that you immediately feel tension in your core from the beginning. And tension is good because when we release it, the ball is going to be struck much harder. The second thing is as you go into your coil, think about staying away from the ball. Try not to hit the ball as long as possible. I know it sounds weird, but the tighter you make your coil by rotating your hips and shoulders away from the ball, having this slope in your shoulders, getting away from the ball, getting a nice deep knee bend, and generally just staying away from the ball as much as possible, the more explosive the shot will be when we finally release it without actually swinging any harder. It's just a lot more of a release. So here, flexibility and strength in your core and legs will be tested. So take it easy, warm into it, and work on tightening your coil, and your serve will go off like a rocket. All right, so that's the power generator. That's how you can take your serve coupled with the elite throwing mechanics and really develop explosive power on your serve and do it effortlessly. All right, so use this power for good and not for evil. All right, make sure you're only deploying it on your opponents and that you're not using it to hit your doubles player in the back. I knew you wouldn't, okay? But just in case, the next video we're gonna talk about the sniper serve and how to be almost laser-like precise when you hit your serve. It's gonna be really good. Let's head on over to the next video.